with the power of the Most High. I live in the light, and I'm chilling on the front line. The winds might fight, forward am I grooving. I'm dancing in His revelation. Jah is by my right hand side. That is why I will not die. Where do you run to? Where do you come from?
Welcome to another episode of the Black Couch Show, where we've promised to bring you the rich experiences of our brothers and sisters from all over the world as we delve into the culture, the diversity, and the history of the African people. What is spiritual soul science? Well, in the studio today, we have a wonderful guest in none other than Goddess MERES HITIP IV. And she's an ontologist, a spiritual guide, and a teacher with over 40 years of experience to come and share with us. So without wasting any more time, let's invite Goddess MERES HITIP IV. Okay, so finally we have Goddess MERES HITIP IV on the Black Couch. You're very welcome in Akwaba. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and I know you traveled very far to come and be with us. We're very grateful.
Thank you.
And you look very beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So, in my intro, you heard me say, what is spiritual soul science? I know my guests are out there wondering what it is, but we have the lady right in front of me.
Spiritual soul science. A lot of people can relate to soul. However, it's the systematic procedure of raising your soul consciousness energy to its highest, purest, pure state. Before we were incarnated into our human body vessels, we were pure consciousness. And for us to relieve ourselves of this situation today, it would be nice if we could study and realize our opportunity to activate our soul consciousness so that we can use our inner powers to bring us out of this situation. It's who we are.
Okay.
Who and what we are. Who we are is soul,
Okay.
immortal essence, and what we become is spirit. You know, our energy is the essence, the soul, and the spirit that we attract is our activator, our spur up our energy to animate us. You know, we are animals, we're animated beings. The spirit stirs up the energy that the essence is.
Okay.
You understand? And we live a lifeline or a lifetime as that spirit.
Okay.
Some beings have many spirits within their body vessel. However, for people to become aware that all of us are spiritual beings, you know, it's not a thing where you have to get more spiritual or, you know, become spiritual. You're born into the third dimensional physical realm as a spiritual being housed in the human body vessel that your mother prepared for you as she walked along the planet of the earth, breathing in the dust of the ground. You know, she formed your organic body vessel. So now that during the labor, when she drops down and yields in the delta waves, is what they call labor, your soul energy that was pre-chosen, you made your choices of your parents before you incarnated. You come through for an experience on this third dimensional realm. You see, many may feel that this is high or above, many of our sisters and brothers, but it's only information lying dormant in your DNA. I don't know if you know deoxyribonucleic acid. So these activations with the planetary alignments and the sun shooting off flares of photon rays, do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is activating the DNA within many of our sisters and brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they may feel ill or sick and think that it's a physical illness when it's not. It's an upgrading and adjustment. Do you understand? For those who are choosing the ascension path,
Mm-hmm.
when there are many souls who choose the descension path also. But because Mother Earth, our Mother Earth, she's so expanded in consciousness beyond the third dimensional frequency right now, that she is raising into the fifth dimensional frequency of divine unconditional love. And it's a very potent frequency. It's the most potent frequency in existence. Love, and then you have divine unconditional love. And divine is the vine. The vine, your mother and father, their mother and father, they're the vine. That's the vine. Now, can you imagine it, activated with unconditional love? Unconditional love is loving and wanting and desiring to stay in connection with your source energy, so much that you will not allow any condition to bring you out of that vibration. And this is what we're going through now, where everything is thrown at us to bring us out of our connection. Do you understand? With our ancestors and our greater parents, earth, wind, fire, and water. The media is saturating our minds with things on their agenda. We have to step back, come into unity, and work on our agenda. And since it's so saturated with the negative frequency on the third dimensional realm, we have options. We can go to the spirit realm. We can tap into our ancestors who are in our DNA. We can commune with them, who are waiting for us. In the spirit realms, you can't offer assistance until you're asked.
Okay, so let's go for a commercial break and we'll be back in a few. Welcome back. All this is so deep. I mean,
It's high.
It's high. It's high vibrations. And I don't want us to leave our audience behind because you're a teacher and you have 40 years of experience. But to people watching, you mentioned third dimension, fourth dimension. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, dimension is a amount of measure. Here, it's amount of measure of frequency. energy.
Right.
Everything vibrates.
Sure.
So frequency is merely how often something is happening.
Mhm.
So in the third dimension, we face dual reality, right or wrong. It's different from the second dimension, which is the animal, and the first dimension, which is cells, atoms,
Mhm.
and the fourth dimension we all visit every night. Is astral plane, our dream state. So we use the fourth dimension to travel from the third dimension to the fifth dimension every night.
Mhm.
The fifth dimension is a drop down from our original source.
Okay.
So I say fifth dimension and beyond because once you bring your energy back to the fifth dimension, in the high frequencies, you become androgynous, which is neither
Sex.
male or female.
Sure.
You see, we on the human physical plane, we spend so much time nitpicking on things that don't even matter.
Mhm.
You understand? If we can overcome that
Mhm.
and focus on cultivating our inner beings,
Okay.
on how to travel instantaneously from third dimensional frequencies to fifth dimensional frequencies,
Mhm.
where we're engulfed in divine unconditional love. Because you have to remember that love is tachyon. Tachyon, like the scientific term for the astrological bodies, they're held into place with tachyon energy, love.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
Tack on, to glue, to stick, hold on, keep,
Right.
So we want to learn to travel from the third dimensional to the fifth dimensional in the twinkling of an eye.
Mm.
Do you understand? And it can be done. And our ancient ones knew that it could be done. That's what they spent so much time trying to beat out of us. You see how nature works. Every 24,000 years, it's like 24 and some change, but just for easier explanation, every 24,000 years, nature brings a groomed being to guide us back to our origin, our path. So when 1970 came around and I was searching, going around to different groups, the five placentas and the Nation of Islam and all this. However, I had just lost my first child and I was searching through the Bible trying to find answers, but it wasn't working for me. So I happened to walk into school. I was taking an opticianry class on how to make eyewear.
Okay.
And the brother was reading this paper. So that's when I was introduced to some answers to the many questions that I had. And this lifetime around, that's when my journey started on the spiritual path in death. However, when I was 6 to 7 years old, I was aware of it. And then you're dumbed down, and told, that's not what you saw or whatever. But anyway, nature brings you back to it. You understand? By the way, and that's a lot of what do they call them? Artistic children being born today are in actuality guides. And they're very talented and smart in certain areas because they stay inside. They're in alignment. Do you understand? But
so they may look slow in that way, like you see them, but they actually
they're way ahead of us.
Okay.
I see. There's so much guidance being sent to us, but because we're being flooded with another people's agenda, we don't even see it. We don't even wake up to it. We become so dense. And then on top of that, the diet that they introduce and keep in front of our faces, especially over in the States, 10 and 12 restaurants lined up. But the diet, densifies us, physically and mentally.
Okay.
You understand? So it's time now for us to love ourselves again. You understand? Self and kind, to the point where everything we put into our bodies, we need to investigate it first. We need to become our own experiment. You understand? Because the meat of other animals and certain things that we're taking in of other beings, it's not doing anything for us, but dumbing us down. It's desensitizing our connection to our ancestors. You understand? So an alkaline diet is something that will help to lighten you up. And in ancient times, sages, they used to go up into the mountains and temples and build their caves to go off and come in tune with themselves. You understand? But if we look how Mother Nature works, we can really flip it around to our benefit, because you're sending us home to do what we think is nothing. But if we go home and go inside to our high heart and activate ourselves and become in touch with our ancestral line, your immediate line are the ones that you go to when you need family assistance. And the greater ancestors like earth, wind, fire, and water, we go for global, galactical assistance. Do you understand? And earth, wind, fire, and water should be on our lips every day at some point. Do you understand? They're inside our bodies and outside of our bodies. Our bashara, our skin, is the earth. Our blood, our fluids, that's the water. Our breath of life, that's the wind. And our solar plex, we got a sun, a little sun in the center of our being. We're not like the Caucasian. We're not like the oppressor. We are a different functioning being of supreme melanin. And if you Google it, like I have done, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. I'm speaking to the audience, the family audience. Research and check it out for yourselves, please. Melanin is like a super energy power within our DNA that we're walking around with. We have to connect our consciousness to more than what is being thrown at us. We have to study and develop and find out exactly who and what we are. We know we're immortal soul, but for some reason you chose to incarnate into a human body vessel. For what experience? You understand? If you simply take time with your soul being, and soul is more like a religious term. It's your consciousness that I'm referring to. It's an energy. Do you understand? Because the religious terms in religion, it's not going to last through the sun cycle that we're now experiencing. In the year 2000, symbolically in the year 2000, we entered into a sun cycle. Mother Earth, she has many cycles, but this particular one I'm talking about, it has a moon, sun, moon, sun. So we just entered into a new sun cycle where the energy is totally different than the moon cycle. The moon cycle it rules by fear and killing and hate, this heavy, low vibrating energy, But in the sun cycle, it's like mama coming home. Everything is cleaned up, at your best. Ma'at comes in. I don't know if you're familiar with the cosmic order. Yes. So this is what's happening with Mother Nature, almighty nature law. The nature laws are coming back into effect strongly. The law of attraction is one that many people are familiar with. This is something that we can use when we go inside and meditate, middle, go into the middle and spend some time in the, spiritual realm inside. Do you understand? It coils into the unseen world. You can look it up. You have a cochlea in your ear, in both your ears, and they coil into the spirit realm to the point where some beings, like myself, hear a ringing tone all the time.
Okay, so let's go for a commercial break and we'll be back in a few. And welcome back. So you're speaking, when I hear you, and I'm sure a lot of our audience at home, most people are involved in some kind of religion or another, or following some kind of doctrine. But you seem to be speaking about a level higher than the level that we are accustomed to know.
Our way of life.
Okay.
This is our stuff, you know?
Right.
Who and what we are.
And when you say our, you're talking...
Melanite, African melanin people.
Okay, so the ancient Kemetic traditions.
Are very intelligent beings.
Most people know that as ancient Egypt.
Yes, but these are just labels.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Sure.
This land, this continent is Mother Earth's throne.
Right.
I don't care what you want to call it. It's the only continent that's directly connected to the core of Mother Earth. Everybody else is just floating. You understand? By almighty nature law, over a period of 400, 500 years, if you know anything about world history, the United States will be underwater and more land mass of Africa will raise up. I know there's been a lot of questions about where are the people going to go when they come home. But Africa has plenty of land and more to surface. Do you understand? Matter of fact, it's Africa. Mother Nature is calling souls back home. The pull I had on me was from like 7, 8 years old. Do you understand? Through the teenage years, going home, you know, my father looking at the nose ring and the hair and everything. But it's a pull that it was ordained by almighty nature.
Sure.
That when her cycle of the moon was over, she would prepare those to usher in the sun cycle. And that's what's happening now. You know, a lot of souls are marked for Africa. Yes, we're supposed to come home. It's like we were sent away instead of for 4 years of college. We were sent away for 400 years of education of the oppressor, living amongst him and still learning from him. Now to come back home and bring that knowing with us and intermingle with our sisters and brothers here and their knowing, can you see how dynamite, how we can overcome anything?
That's powerful.
We just have to unite because it's going to connect within the DNA.
Right. It's always been there.
Yes.
So that means you got lots of work to do because you can see around.
Yes, we do.
This is part of the work. But
yeah, this is.
There's lots of work to be done because the average person you will meet this is far from the understanding. They're still following, like I said, doctrines and certain individuals and the teachings. But this raised vibration, what is the significance of the African family embracing this sort of knowledge at this time? What's the importance of us holding on to this kind of knowledge at this time, seeing that lots of our brothers and sisters on the street are following all kinds of religions, and it's
Well, you can practice
Mhm.
spirituality and still keep your religion
okay.
if that's your choice.
Okay.
The thing is, as you develop in your spirituality, you're not going to want the religion.
Mm.
Religion's like kindergarten, and here you're talking, university
Mm.
with the spirituality. But you have to remember, it's not a good or a bad thing. It was necessary for spirituality to drop down to religion during the moon cycle. It was like a what do you call it? A providing. I don't know.
Like a precursor.
Yeah, it was like a preserving.
Okay.
Do you understand? Same
Okay.
thing with Africa.
Okay.
Africa, if you really look at it in a positive light, has been preserved
Mm.
for our sisters and brothers, diaspora, to come back home
Mm.
and intermingle back in, work amongst each other, even marry back in.
Yep.
That's what you do.
Mhm.
You understand? You went away, you matured on what you know, then you come back. You understand?
Mhm.
It's not, anybody doesn't know anything more than anyone else.
Sure.
It's just that what I spent 40 years studying was something different than what you spent 40
Right.
years studying.
Right.
And it's not a good or bad thing. Everybody, every soul is valuable,
Mm.
even the one laying on the street,
Mhm.
which is our responsibility. In ancient
Right.
Egypt, we took care of all. Do you understand? That's one thing that upset the oppressor when they came in.
Mm.
That first of all, you got a king and a queen, or a god and a goddess, sitting next to each other amongst all these jewels and gold and diamond in harmony and peace. And,
Mm.
so it's like, because of the vibration they vibrate at, which is a knockoff from us, because the original race gave birth to all the others. So
Sure.
they're, in actuality, our children.
Mhm.
They couldn't vibrate to the heights that we can if they wanted to.
Mm.
Do you understand? We can take the same knowledge, the same teachings, and apply it, and we will excel.
Mm.
They show you that in sports all the time. Do you understand?
So what makes us special? Obviously, our color, and that comes from the melanin, and that means that the Creator then purposefully gave us these.
Jewels,
I see.
even a home full of jewels. Do you understand?
Mm.
We have everything we need right here. Do you understand? We don't need to be in somebody else's kitchen.
Mm.
We have our parents love us so dearly and foresee so dearly. That's what you do with your children. You foresee what they're going to go through and you prepare.
Mhm.
You understand, to make sure that they have. So that's what has happened with our ancient ancestors on a large scale.
Mm.
Now, when the religion came in, you have to remember, it's a baby religion. Christianity is only like 2,000 years old.
Sure.
Islam, 1,400. They're baby religions compared to ancient Egypt,
Sure.
where we studied and practiced our spiritual way of life.
Mhm.
Do you understand? So,
Thousands of years.
right. But in the time that it did come, you see what it was able to do.
Mm.
But also now you see where nature has made sure to counteract that,
That is-
because a whole congregation all over the world that was being taught by my spiritual guide and master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, Kobina York, he touched so many lives.
Mhm.
And he took us through so many degrees of information. He took us through the degree of Christianity, the degree of Islam,
Mm.
the degree of Islam, to the point where I was in veil,
Mm.
and Amina at that time.
Okay.
The degree of Islam, Judaism, the in-depth studies that we made with these, it all takes you back to ancient Egypt.
Mm.
You see, so why not go back to ancient
It's
Egypt?
the source. Well, it's ironic that in the modern religions, the role of ancient Egypt is sort of negated. It has a negative vibe. So you read in the Bible and the pharaohs, and then in Islam too, there's a negative connotation about the ancient Egyptians. And so what you're saying then makes it obvious that there was a deliberate
Yes.
mission to subdue that.
yes, we're more powerful. We need to activate. We need to come together in unity. Like, learn how to meditate. The ancient Egyptian pose for meditation is it's a straight back chair, feet straight. I like to suggest on the ground, the bare ground, Mother Earth, because there's an energy. Yeah, we have energy seats, chakras, Arush. You understand?
Yes.
And you activate your energy seats on the bare ground. You bring the energy through, and so that the energy comes through your meridians and goes back in, you can place your energy seats on your legs like this. If you go to the walls in ancient Egypt, you'll see the deities living in, meditation. And that's where the gods and goddesses who ruled, they lived in meditation, opened up their channel and had a direct connection to the ancient ones. They didn't have a middleman between them and the gods, and a lot of them became gods. You understand? So every sister and brother, every Melanite sister and brother has the ability to have direct connection with the divine, with who they refer to as God. You don't need someone to, speak for you. You can go into meditation and commune on your own. You understand? That's an empowerment.
So you mentioned sun cycle, the moon cycle. And like I said, for people sitting at home, I want them to understand. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Remember, in history, they taught us about the gold cycle and the silver cycle. And that's the same, it's just another name for the sun cycle and the moon cycle. It's a drop down period, a rest period for Mother Gaia during the moon cycle when, it appears.
And Mother Gaia is Mother Earth.
Mother Gaia is the consciousness, the fourth dimensional electromagnetic aura of Mother Earth.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. She's a living being,
right?
A living entity, and we.
That's why in local Akan spirituality, the concept of Asasiya, which is the living Mother Earth, and she's a living being, and that was what informed the principles of not going to the toilet in a river or desecrating forests, because Mother Earth was a living being. So much so that you would find some drivers today still, before they cross a river, they'll blow their horn in the evening because it's a sign of respect before you cross over, almost to ask for permission. Just like some herbalists go to the bush and they have to ask for permission before they harvest. Or you'd go to the water and you'd ask permission from the river before you'd harvest. But it was this constant acknowledgement that you are living with a living being.
Yes, so. And that's what we have to get back to. And not just with those things that you mentioned, but all life, everywhere. Do you understand?
Right.
We have to learn to love ourselves and all life everywhere. Don't you see? That's what's going to bring us,
back on track,
back into our alignment. We'll ascend back into our heavenly state of being.
Okay, so we come to the end of another episode, and we had the lovely goddess MERES ANKH HITIP the Fourth. We've learned so much from her. She's raised the vibration, and I'm sure you at home have taken on a lot. I hope you absorbed it. Most importantly, I hope you're going to pass it on to your children. And we hope you'll join us for more episodes of the Black Couch Show. This show is brought to you by Ahara Studios and supported by MOF and HOC.
Best believe there is no escape. Things are so hard for Babylon. They've been stubborn all along. Things are so hard for Babylon. They've been stubborn all along. That's why we have to reject it. That's why we cannot be spectators. That's why we have it. That's why we cannot be spectators.